Today I'm bringing you a class I'm gonna put on about how to make $1 million in the financial markets. But before I get into that, let's talk about your mind's gotta be right first, right? Because if your mind's not right, money's not gonna matter, right? If you don't have a certain kind of mindset to get to the $1 million, you won't get there. So you have to have a certain mind in order to have that kind of mind. I can't get into it all on this particular teaching, but what I can tell you is you need to get enough sleep, but balance that with enough work, right? Because you have to work a lot. And when I say work a lot, that's relative to the industry, but in this industry, it is very taxing on the brain. So you have to keep that in mind. But the most important thing that you really need to do is watch what goes into your mind, right? I'm not telling you what to watch, I'm not telling you what to listen to, but I am telling you in order to get to $1 million, in order to go from wherever you are to $1 million, you have to grow in your mind mentally as you grow with the money. In order to do that, you have to have a certain kind of mindset in order to do that, right? You need to eat properly, right? You need to sleep properly, and you need to have a certain kind of tenacity and consistency about yourself that you're going to reach your goal, right? So with that said, let's go ahead and get into how we're going to get to that $1 million. Follow me over here. So, all right, I'm gonna pull my calculator out because I don't want to make a blunder on the camera, right? But how to make $1 million in 2 years or less, and this is about 18 months here. So this is how my first mentee kind of did it, right? If you start with say $10,000 and you made $3,442 the first month, now your balance is $13,542, right? So that's $13,542. Then the next month, right, you do very well again, and then you make $7,084, right? Let's just go ahead, hold on here. Let's go ahead and look at what that number would be. So you got 10,300. I'm sorry, I keep saying 10,000. Got $13,542, and then what you want to do is add $7,000 to that, $7,084 to that. Right, that's $20,626, right? Then you're starting to scale, because this is the most important thing when it comes to making money. You have to learn how to scale. In other words, turn 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. Scaling, compounding, same thing, but you have to know how to scale, right? And you have to be able to do that on a consistent basis. So let us say the next month, right, you make $10,626, right? We'll go through this one more time. Plus $10,626. Now you're at 31,000. Your account is at $31,252. Okay, I won't go through all of the numbers, but what I will say is, if you keep scaling, because you do have an edge in the market, and you keep scaling, and you make $10,000 one month, $14,000 one month, $20,000 one month, $30,000 one month, $40,000 one month, $50,000 one month, and then now you get into a whole other realm of possibilities for yourself. Now you're making $110,000 in a month. Now you're making $190,000 in a month. Now you're making almost $200,000 a month, and that's not something that hasn't been done. That's a realistic goal, but in order to do that, you have to have a scale mindset. You have to have a growth mindset, and the best thing for you to do is for your mind to grow with the money. Because the reason why a lot of people have problems with the lottery or coming into a windfall of money is because if your mind has not been used to that kind of money before, you have to adapt, and that is in hard adaptation. But if you do what the scaling method tells you to do, you can end up with $1,046,748. Now let me tell you something. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. But if you follow the steps, you can get there. Most people don't get there for this one simple reason: lack of consistency. You have to stay consistent. I can't express that to you enough. That is the most important thing in anything you do. Whether we're talking about the stock market, you're talking about an online business, you're talking about going to school, you're talking whatever, you have to stay consistent. And that has to be a focus and a focal point for what you're trying to do. Now, the last thing I want to do before we get off today is, if you want to make that kind of money, you have to have an edge. I'm going to show you verbatim in black and white what our edge is. We trade what I call price flow analysis. That's in the professional terms. That's a way of looking at the market over a period of time and then being able to capitalize on the pullbacks in the market. And we'll go over and talk about that. Let's do that right now. So if you're looking at my charts right now, okay, we have here long-term and short-term momentum. We don't use indicators to do anything but confirm what we're seeing in price, right? So we know for a fact there's a strong move to the upside here, okay? See that there's a strong move to the upside here. What we then do is dial down to a smaller time frame and we wait for a pullback here, okay? Wait for a pullback there. And then what we end up doing is we end up entering over here off of once the correction is done over here, and then we end up making money here. Now let me tell you this particular trade that you're looking at is $200 per contract, and that's in less than about 2 minutes. Okay, so if you were to take that trade there, then you could have made literally $200 per contract using what we call momentum, trend, and then timing. Over here, our trading methodology is very simple. We enter at the end of a correction, because if you compare these two, see, look, they look very similar. And then we exit at the end of the trend. And there are ways that we do to know when the end of the correction is and when the end of the trend is. That's something that we'll have to get into if you decide to follow us and kind of go on a journey with us. But we'd love for you to do that. But we want to show you, in order to make $1 million, you have to have an edge, you have to have a plan, and you have to execute your plan. That being said, that's all for today. Hope you guys have a great weekend. See you on the other side.